The Dragonheart Princess Episode 2. The wind still hummed with electricity as Liora and Arion soared above the clouds, their hearts racing with both fear and exhilaration. Below them, her village smoldered, smoke curling upward like dark fingers into the morning sky. Liora clutched Arion tightly, her small arms barely wrapping around his glowing blue body, and yet she felt an unexpected warmth of courage swelling inside her. "We'll come back for them," she whispered to Arion, who chirped in acknowledgement, wings twitching as he propelled them higher into the sky. Each flap of his wings sent sparks of blue lightning dancing around them, illuminating the clouds like tiny stars. As they drifted toward the first floating island, Leora's eyes widened in awe. The island was enormous, covered in forests that shimmered like emerald fire and waterfalls that poured endlessly into the abyss. Bridges of crystal arched gracefully between smaller islands, glowing softly in the golden sunlight. Liora tried to take it all in, feeling a surge of wonder that almost made her forget the danger they had just escaped. "It's more beautiful than I imagined," she murmured. Arion chirped, circling above her head, tiny wings leaving trails of electric sparkles in the air. Suddenly, a shadow flickered across the clouds below. Liora squinted. A dark serpentine shape was gliding swiftly between the floating islands. "Arion, look," she pointed. The shadow coiled and swooped a creature unlike anything she had seen, massive, dark-scaled, with eyes that glowed like molten fire. The air grew thick with tension. Arion growled and flapped his wings furiously, sparks crackling from his body. Liora tightened her grip, heart thundering. They had barely escaped the village, and now the threat seemed to be following them. She wished she could have seen more clearly, but the creature moved with lightning speed, vanishing behind a shimmering waterfall. They landed cautiously on the edge of the island, soft moss cushioning their feet. Liora sank to the ground, trembling slightly, and gazed at Arion. "We can't keep running forever, can we?" she asked. Arion chirped, nuzzling her cheek, as if offering comfort. She smiled faintly through her fear. "I know, we'll figure it out somehow." She scanned the island, noting twisted vines and glimmering plants, their tips glowing faintly in the sun. This place was alive, magical, and mysterious. She felt both terrified and enchanted. "Maybe this is where we hide for now," she said. As they explored, Liora discovered a small crystal pond shimmering like liquid sapphire. Curiosity overtook her fear. She knelt at the edge, dipping her fingers into the water. The surface rippled, and a faint glow reflected on her face, revealing the strange mark on her hand, pulsing softly. Her heart skipped. She didn't know why the mark glowed here, in this magical place, but it felt important, a sign that she was meant to be somewhere, doing something greater than herself. Arion chirped excitedly, sensing her emotions, and leaped forward to play in the water, sending ripples sparkling like fireworks. Hours passed as they explored the island, discovering towering trees with silver leaves, flowers that hummed softly, and glowing mushrooms that lit their path. Liora began to feel a growing bond with the island itself, as if it recognized her presence. "It's like it's welcoming us," she whispered to Arion. She climbed to the top of a ridge and looked out over the vast expanse of floating islands, each one more magical than the last. "There's so much out there," she said. "So many secrets." The feeling of adventure pulsed in her chest. She realized that no matter how scared she felt, this world was calling her to explore it. As night began to fall, Liora set up a small shelter under the twisted branches of a glowing tree, Arion curling up beside her. The dragon's tiny body radiated warmth, and Liora leaned against him, feeling safe for the first time in hours. Stars twinkled above, and the moonlight illuminated the floating islands in silver. A soft rustle caught her attention. She turned and saw small forest creatures peeking out from behind glowing plants. They seemed curious, not threatening. Liora smiled softly. "You're not so scary," she whispered. Arion chirped, eyes half closed, settling down to sleep. But even in the calm, her mind kept returning to the dark shadow they had seen earlier. Who was it? What did it want? And why did it seem so drawn to her? The next morning, Liora awoke to a faint humming in the air, like the world itself was breathing magic. She stretched and looked at Arion, who yawned and flapped his wings with growing strength. "Ready for today?" she asked. He chirped enthusiastically. Together, they began exploring deeper into the island. Soon, they came across a series of glowing glyphs etched into stone walls, symbols Liora did not understand, yet somehow felt familiar. She ran her fingers over them, feeling a strange resonance in her hand where the mark pulsed. Arion chirped nervously. The feeling was strong, powerful, almost as if the island itself was communicating with them. Leora's curiosity turned to awe. This must mean something," she whispered. As they investigated further, they stumbled into a hidden grove. where a crystal-clear stream cascaded over small cliffs, forming sparkling pools. Tiny dragonflies with luminous wings danced above the water, and the air smelled of fresh rain and wildflowers. Liora paused, kneeling by the stream to drink. "It's perfect," she said, eyes shining with wonder. Arion leapt into the pool, sending a spray of sparkling water into the air. Liora laughed, the sound echoing across the grove. In this quiet moment, she felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt since before the attack. And yet, beneath it, a seed of anticipation grew. She knew adventure was far from over. Suddenly, a loud crack of thunder echoed across the islands. Arion flinched, wings bristling with sparks. Liora looked up to see storm clouds gathering unnaturally fast. She held her arms out to steady herself. "We need to find shelter," she called to Arion. They dashed through the glowing forest, the wind whipping past, carrying leaves and mist. Lightning flashed, illuminating shapes moving in the shadows. Could it be the Shadow Rider again? Leora's heart raced. "No, not now," she shouted. The trees parted to reveal a hidden cave mouth. Without hesitation, she dove inside, Arion right behind her. The storm raged outside, thunder shaking the cliffs, lightning flashing across the sky, but inside, they found a temporary sanctuary. Catching her breath, Liora leaned against the cool stone walls. "We're safe. For now," she whispered. Arion curled next to her, flicking his wings softly. She studied the cave and noticed carvings along the walls, dragons, islands, floating bridges, and figures that seemed to be fighting dark shapes. Her pulse quickened. "It's a story, a warning, or maybe a guide," she murmured. The mark on her hand pulsed brighter. Liora realized that somehow, she was connected to all of this, the islands, the dragons, and the shadowy threat that chased her. Night fell, and Liora slept fitfully, dreaming of flying across the clouds, shadow beasts lurking below, and Arion growing into a magnificent dragon, his wings stretching wide, sparking with electricity. She dreamt of the Shadow Rider, red eyes glowing, reaching for her, and she awoke with a start, heart racing. Arion chirped softly, nudging her hand. She smiled faintly, determination building in her chest. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together," she whispered. She hugged him tightly, feeling the bond grow stronger. Outside, the stars reflected off the floating islands, shimmering like a promise. Liora took a deep breath. The adventure had only just begun.